content of this message being sent to third party. Got it. Okay. Sorry, to the one for the initiation a few days before, except the oh Krishna again become Mataji, the content gone. Hare
Just one
Krishna.
second. Just 1 second, Prabhu.
Yeah.
No, you come here for
Jessica Sabala.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I can show the screen on the screen if you like.
No, I got it. Okay, Prabhu. It's
Okay,
fine.
thank you.
Okay, Prabhu, you can read.
Start from when I arrived, right? Yeah.
1 second.
Start from about third party people, is it?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. First of all, welcome everyone to our daily Samad Bhagavatam class. Please accept my humble obeisances. To your lotus heart and begging all your blessings so that I can purify myself, my body, my intelligence, and my words for my spiritual advancement. Very nice sloka which we have got today. But before we recite the sloka, we need to do this Prabhupada Lilamrita reading. So, about third party attended. The decoration was similar to the one for the initiation a few days before, except that they were more festive and the feast was more lavish. Swamiji front room was decorated with pine boughs and the leaves, and the flowers were strung overhead from one side of the room to other. Some of the new initiate came, their large red beads around their neck. They had taken vow now 16 rounds a day, and they chanted on their beads just as Swamiji had shown them, and they happily thou self con- consciously call one another by their new spiritual names. Janki. Swamiji said that I should wear a sari at my wedding, and he said it should be made of silk. I asked him what color, and he said red. So Mukund bought me a absolutely, can you raise, absolutely elegant sari and some very nice jewelry. The Swami's friend were used to seeing Janaki as she always come with Mukunda, but usually she wore no makeup and dressed in very plain clothes. They were astounded and somewhat embarrassed to see her enter wearing jewelry, makeup, and a bright red sari. The bride's hair was up and braided, decorated with on oval silver filigree hair ornaments. She wore heavy silver earring, which Mukunda had purchased from an expensive Indian import shop on Fifth Avenue, and silver bracelet. Prabhupada directed Prabhupada Prabhupada directed Mukunda and Janki to sit opposite him on the other side of the sacrificial fire arena. And just as at the initiation, he lit the incense and instructed them in the purification by water, recited the purification mantra, and then began to speak. He explained about the relationship between man and wife in Krishna consciousness and how they should serve each other and how they should serve Krishna. Prabhupada then asked Janki's sister to present her formally to Mukunda as his wife. Mukunda then repeated after Swamiji, I accept Janki as my wife and I shall take charge of her throughout both of our life. We shall live together peacefully in Krishna consciousness, and there will never be any separation. And then Prabhupada, mm, sorry, I missed it. About the relationship between the Janki and Krishna and how they should live serve each other. And the Prabhupada, and then the Prabhupada turned to Janki. Will you accept Sriman Mukunda Dasa Brahmachari as your life's companion? Will you serve him always and help him to execute his Krishna conscious activity? And then Janki replied, Yes, I accept Mukunda as my husband throughout my life. There shall never be any separation between us, either in happiness or distress. I shall serve him always, and we shall live to there peacefully in Krishna consciousness. Shall we start with the class now, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu, please go ahead.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Nar Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto the other Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भक्तिर just a minute, Krishna. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. By regular attendance in class on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and the loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with the transcendental song, is established as an irrevocable fact. Shri Radha Krishna Bhagwan ki jai. We reciting today from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, chapter 27 and slok number 10. Tesu tadarikta haresu graha koshanujivisu nirudena mamatvena visayesu anvabhadyata. Tesu tadarikta haresu griha koshanujivisu nirudena mamatvena visayesu anvabhadyata. Anyone would like to recite? Please. Okay, then I'll take the word to word translation by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai ho. Tesu, to them, tadarikta haresu, the plunderer of his money, griha, home, Kosha treasury an, anujivisu to the followers. Nirudena deep rooted. Mamatvena by attachment. Visayesu to sense object. Anvabhadyata become bound. Then the translation by Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai ho. These sons and the grandsons were virtually plunderer of King Puranjana's riches, including his home, treasury, servant, secretaries, and all other paraphernalia. Puranjana's attachment for these things was very deep rooted. Purport by Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai ho. In this verse, the word Rikta Haresu, meaning the plunderer of wealth, is very significant. One's sons, grandsons, and other descendants are ultimately plunderer of one's accumulated wealth. There are many celebrated businessmen and industrialists who produce great wealth and are highly praised by the public. But all their money is ultimately plundered by their son and grandsons. In India, we have actually seen one industrialist who, like King Puranjana, was very much sexually inclined and had a half a dozen of wives. Each of these wives had a separate establishment that necessitated the expenditure of several thousands of rupees. When I was engaged in talking with them, I saw that I saw that he was very busy trying to secure money so that all his sons and daughters would get at least 500,000 rupees each. Thus, such industrialists, businessmen, or karmis are called mudas. In the Sastra, they work very hard, accumulate money, and are satisfied to see that this money is plundered by their son and grandson. Such people do not want to return their wealth to its actual owner, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 5:29. Bhoktaram yagna tapasam sarvaloka maheswaram. The real proprietor of the wealth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the actual enjoyer. So called earner of money are those who simply know tricks by which they can take away God's money under the guise of business and industry. After accumulating this money, they enjoy seeing it plundered by their son and grandson. This is the materialistic way of life. In materialistic life, one is encaged within the body and deluded by the false egoism. Thus, one thinks, I am this body, I am a human being, I am an American, I am an Indian. This bodily conception is due to the false ego. Being deluded by false ego, one identify himself with a certain family, nation, and community. In this way, one's attachment for material world grows deeper and deeper. Thus, it becomes very difficult for the living entity to extricate himself from the entanglement. Such people are graphically described in the 16th chapter Bhagavad Gita, 16, 13 to 15th sloka. Idam adya maya labdham imam prapasya manoratham idam astidam api me bhavishyati punardhanam. असौ मया हता सातुर हनिष्ये चापरन्नपि ईश्वरो अहम भोगी सिद्धो अहम भगवान सुखी बलवान सुखी अद्य अभिजानवान अस्मि को अन्यो अस्ति सदृशो मया युक्स्य दास्यमि मोदिष्य इति अज्ञान विमोहिता. The demonic person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my scheme. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemy will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is there is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifice, I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. In this way, people engage in various laborious activity, and their attachment for the body, home, family, nation, and community becomes more and more deep-rooted. Niruddhena mamatvena. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्विताश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधकान्ता नमस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गे राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री श्री राधा गिरधारी भगवान की जय। जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की जय। श्री श्री राधा वल्लभ भगवान की जय। श्री गौर निताय की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Thank you so much, Prabhujis and Matajis, for giving me this opportunity to talk. Last time I had another class, sloka was given, but unfortunately I couldn't deliver that because of some other guest has come, and I couldn't do it. This is very nice sloka, and it gives me a lot of insight and gives me a lot of the changes that I should bring in my own life. The word niruddhena mamatvena is very very significant in whole this episode, in whole this sloka. So the question comes, why uh, what happens like Puranjana? Puranjana wasn't Krishna conscious; he was more materialistic person, and that's why he was leading his life whimsically according to his own rules, according to his own thoughts and desire and plan, right? So this is what according when we lead our life according to our plan, our desire, our choices which we make, then we are working under the external energy of the Lord, which is Maya. And when we work under the influence of Maya, then what happens? We become we suffer birth after birth. For how do we understand that we are working under Maya or not? So the Krishna has clearly given, like for an example, he says, Patram Puspam Phalam Toyam. He says, give me the Patra Puspan Phalam Toyam, water. But instead having that in the morning, lot of the person what to have. When I go to the work, I see only a hot, big, large cup of coffee, and they drink it. No, that has got milk, coffee, which caffeinated, and a sugar. Now they think this coffee gives me some sort of awareness, some sort of awakeness, so that I can focus on my work. No, this is what they do. But the Krishna never said you have a coffee. When you break this rule, then what happens? Um, we becomes um, we suffer. This is got the patanti narke asauchaha. That's a word in the 16th chapter, 16th slok. Bhagwan says, patanti narke asaucha means we came in the world impure, When we came in the world, it was impure, our consciousness. Then Krishna has given us this whole body for purifying our existence. But then we, instead of purifying our existence, we break the rule which is given in the Shastra, and we follow what we think is right, like Puranjana. And then we die also apavitra. So that is what, come ignorant, live ignorant life, and die also ignorant life. That is what we don't want. But then this is what we don't want. But then we do have a desire, we do have an attachment, like Puranjana. He had a desire, he had an attachment. Can we stop this desire? Can we stop this attachment? We cannot stop the desire, and that is the symptom of our consciousness. Desire, having attachment, that is a symptom of our consciousness. But that, since that symptom, that desire and attachment, we need to regulate according to how Veda says. If you do not, if you fail to regulate, then patanti narke asauchaha. That is guaranteed. Krishna has said. So we cannot stop that. But then, um, then we cannot stop that. So there are two kinds of dharma that is given for us in our Shastra. One is, one dharma is bodily swadharma, which is that we perform the action required for our body. When we get hungry, we have to eat. When we feel um, tired, we have to sleep. We have to take a rest. So that is bodily dharma, swadharma. And then there is another dharma which is sanatan dharma, which is the dharma of the soul. So the soul is what? Sat Chit Anand. Soul want to be Sat, which is eternal. Soul want to be Chit, which is full of knowledge. And soul wants to be Anand. We want to be always happy and free. But at this stage, we are we are a soul, but we are encaged in this body. So we have to perform the two dharmas, bodily dharma and soul dharma. But 99% of the population, when I see around us, when we go to work, people are just thinking body is everything, and they're not thinking the soul. They're not giving any efforts to understand who is he, or who is he. They're not putting any effort to understand the self realization. And that's why they live in ignorance. And when we live in ignorance, then what happens? Sat becomes asat, chit becomes ignorance, and anand becomes unhappiness. The unhappiness will be there, right? So the word dharma, dhar means to hold on, to sustain on. The word dharma, the first letter dhar, is called to hold on, to sustain on. When we sustain on, means to be attached to. So we have to attach to our dharma, which is given in a shastra, but we do exactly opposite to it. And like, see the example, Dhritarashtra. Dhrit means attached to. He was attached to Rashtra, means he was attached to his kingdom. He was attached to his son, his Duryodhan and Kauravas. And because and like uh, and because his attachment to the kingdom and to his son was so deep rooted, nirudena mamatvena, it was so deep rooted, that triggered the Kurukshetra war, and that no one could stop in, right? That is the whole reason. The attachment becomes so deep rooted, nirudena mamatvena, that they engage in more and more furtive activity for sense gratification and become bound. Visayesu anvabhadyata. Dhritarashtra guy, why he had so much, he involved in to get, because he was so much attached to the kingdom, to son. He did so much of activity which is not favorable for Pandavas. He become Visayesu anvabhadya. He become bound to it, and ultimately we could see he become we could see the Kurukshetra war was taken place. So like Puranjana, if we also, if like Puranjana, if we pause for a minute and reflect 4 generations back in our family dynasty, we could see our father, great grandfather, great great grandfather have lived their life the same like Puranjana. They work very hard. They raise their children. They see the children also raising their grandchildren, great great grandchildren. They did so much. Even it's not like that they were not God conscious. They were God conscious. They were having some sort of sense that there is a God, and they were living like that. But they didn't because of their association and because of they did not have proper guidance in their life, we could see that most of them, they lived in ignorance, and they also left the body in ignorance. You know, they did uh, some sort of bhakti, but that bhakti wasn't meaning their birth would have definitely improved, but they did not get the proper liberation of how we should get in liberation as described in the Vedas. So this is what had happened. Like um, um, uh, hardly the parents and grandparents have got any sort of liberation, but they work very hard. When I go to the work and ask them that, do you believe in God? They say, yeah, I believe in a God. They do say, I believe in a God, but they do not wish to accept the teachings of the principles of the God. They see that they are suffering. They're having a very hard time with paying rents, maintaining their body, maintaining the family, but still they do not put any efforts to understand how should I come out of this material existence. When we talk, they say, yeah, 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 but this is not the right age. When they blame the government, they blame the all the surrounding weathers, they blame the inflation, and then they just carry on living the same materialistic life. So this is what we need to avoid. This, how do we avoid it? Because there is no proper channelization, there is no proper regulation of their desire, there is no proper regulation of their attachment to the to the regulation as per the Shastra. So they suffer, and this is the God. They all believe in a God, but they do not wish to accept the principle of the God, and hence they live eternally in ignorance. So the question comes to what makes Puranjana ignorant? No? Why is his pure consciousness covered and has only material mission and not having any spiritual vision? And that answer has given in Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 3, slok number 39. See, Krishna is so kind. He's initiated the Krishna conscious movement in a Kurukshetra field. He is the one who first started Krishna consciousness, the spiritual knowledge, and he imparted the knowledge. The lost knowledge was imparted to Arjuna. And he also, the same knowledge was also heard by Dhritarashtra as well. And some knowledge was given to Arjuna as well. Arjuna also had attachment to his family people. And Dhritarashtra also had attachment to family people. And Arjuna also had desire. Dhritarashtra also had desire. But after listening the Krishna, a whole Bhagavad Gita on a Kurukshetra field for 45 minutes, his consciousness completely changed. He channelized his desire how Krishna wanted, whereas Dhritarashtra, he refused. Even though he had so many advices from Vidura, Bhisma, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, but he did not listen at all to him. He become succumbed to his own desire, his own son, and then finally he lost everything. So Arjuna asked the question, Krishna given the answer. So in our life also, our the whole chapter of this life also will end one day at the time of death. And if we could remember Krishna, that will be our exam. And if we can't pass this exam, then what's the point of having this question and answer given readily by Krishna, and we can't get it, we can't accept it, then we are just like a jad buddhi, like an ash, gada, ek number ka gada, kuch nahi kar payega. So let us understand this, how Krishna has given the answer in 3.39. आवृत्तं ज्ञानम् एतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कर्मरूपेण कौन्तेय दुस् दुष्पुरेण नलेन च. The translation is given like this: every soul by nature is pure consciousness, and this consciousness is covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and it burns like fire. It's stated in Manusmriti that the lust is never satisfied by any amount of sense enjoyment, even though the enjoyment is temporary. Even though the enjoyment is the happiness is temporary, and still एक बार खाया नहीं और चाहिए, दोबारा खाया और चाहिए. It's one point they will give up. Okay, I don't want it. But then the following day, if you have left over, I want to still have it again more. ये दिल मांगे more. क्यों? ये दिल मांगे more. क्यों? Why? Why दिल मांगे more? The answer is given that The sense of enjoyment is compared to the fire, which never extinguishes by constant supply of fuel, because the mind is not trained properly, and because the desire is channelized to the sense gratification, so a dil mange more. जैसे ऐसे ही मुसलमान लोगों में, I don't want to criticize anyone, but then I have heard this in my childhood life. अल्लाह देता है और बंदा लेता है, right? The word Urdu word says banda. What is banda? Means the person who is bound, who is bound materially, eternally. Who is materially having so much of bondage, and that's why it's called banda. We say many times word banda, banda, banda. Banda aaya tha, banda gaya. That banda means person who is materially bound. And then although they also say Allah, they also use the word um, जीवा दिए तो खाना भी देगा, बट वी विल नॉट स्टॉप अवर सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन. ये हमारा सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन, ये हमारा जन्म सिद्ध अधिकार है. नो एफर्ट्स आर मेड फॉर द सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन. इनफैक्ट इन्वॉल्व्स मोर एंड मोर in sinful activity. Out of all the sense gratification activity, sex is the center and supermost pleasure giving activity, and hence this world is called Maitunya Agraha, shackle of sex life. In the prison house, we have a criminal who are kept in the prison house. But those who do not accept the principle of the Lord are shackled by the sex life, which we can um, see in the throughout the world. 7 billion people, you know so many people, and are shackled by the sex life. Not everyone, there are so many people who are devoted to Krishna and they are doing a lot of devotional service, but most of the people we have seen that, and when we give even the knowledge, they want to refuse. That's the main problem of the life. The whole civilization has made a great advancement, which is on the basis of sense gratification. That means increasing the duration of material existence, life after life. So many bridges are going on, so many new houses going on, so many malls are opening up, supermarkets are opening, all that for sense gratification. Is there any government putting any emphasis of putting up more and more churches where people get spiritual knowledge? No, they are not doing anything like that. All they're doing is how to, they're trying to make the life simplify. But instead of making the life simplify, they're making more and more life complicated. You know, that is what the main problem is. There, the whole scene means the increase in the duration of life, material existence, life after life. Therefore, the lust is the symbol of ignorance, by which living entity are kept within this world. One who enjoys the sense gratification and feels more temporary happiness, but in actuality, the same temporary happiness is the ultimate enemy of sense enjoyer. वही नहीं समझते, जो हैप्पीनेस हम हमें मिल रही है, जो खुशियां मिल रही है, वो खुशी टेम्पररी है, खूब खूब क्षण भर के लिए है, लेकिन उसको भी पहचान नहीं पाते और फिर भी उसी के पीछे पड़े रहते हैं, उसी के पीछे और चाहिए और चाहिए और चाहिए. तो ये लस्ट के वजह से होता. तो लस्ट रहता कहाँ है? लस्ट का निवास स्थान कहाँ है? Where this lust reside? That is also given in the same Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 3, slok number 40. It says, Indriyani manobuddhir asyadhi sthanam uchyate eter vimohaiti esa jnanam avritya dehinam. The sitting place of the lust is Indriyani. सेंसेस में रहते हैं, देन मनो माइंड में रहता है, बुद्धि इंटेलिजेंस में रहता है. ये तीन जगह, इंद्रिया, माइंड एंड बुद्धि, and which covers the real knowledge, and hence the person remains bewildered and ignorant of his own self. Mind is the reservoir of this is the reason the person becomes ignorant of his own self. And प्रभुपाद इसीलिए प्रपोर्ट में लिखा है ना, यहाँ पे प्रपोर्ट में लिखा है कि because of the false ego, if one is encaged within the body and deluded by the false ego, thus one think, I am the body, I am the human being, I am the American, I am the Indian. And this bodily conception is due to the false ego, and that is false ego is due to ignorance, right? And then it says, the mind is the reservoir of all the idea of sense gratification, and as a result, mind, senses and intelligence are the sitting place of the lust. Lust कहाँ रहता है? इंद्रियों में, पांच इंद्रियों, पांच ज्ञानेंद्रिया, पांच कर्मेंद्रिया। कर्मेंद्रिया से लस्ट की जो पूरे ज्ञानेंद्रियों से लस्ट को एक्वायर करते हैं, माइंड में रहता है और बुद्धि में रहता है। तो नेक्स्ट टू द इंटेलिजेंस इज अवर सोल. So when the mind, senses and intelligence is become contaminated with lust, then what happened? The next door neighbor soul, super soul, recognize himself with the body, with the matter. He identify himself with the matter and acquires the false ego, and engage in the sense gratification. And this is the mistake which we make all the time for happiness, and which is nicely this mistake is nicely explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 84, and slok number 13. It says, Yasyatma buddhi krunupetrithatuke swadhi kalatradishu bahuma ijya dihi यतीर्थ बुद्धि सलिले न करहिचित जनेस्व अभिज्ञेसु स एव गोकरः. Prabhupada has given a very nice explanation on this whole sloka. We can't go in detail on this one, but the word go khara is very important. गधा, एक नंबर का गधा. क्यों गधा? तो उसका explanation, the short and the sweet essence of this sloka is, human being under the influence of false ego identify himself with the body, which is made up of three dhatu, kaf, vat and pith, right? And who also identify the byproduct, wife, bache, family, society, nation, and as his kinsman, his relative, and is considered to be an ass, go, khara, gada. Thus, in this way, Puranjana, who is pure knowledge, is covered by his lusty ignorance. And as mentioned by the Prahlad Maharaj in Canto 7, chapter 945, Ya Maitunadi Grahamedi Sukham ही तुच्छम. ग्रह सुखम ही तुच्छ है. जो ग्रह मेदि का सुख है वह तुच्छ है, was very क्षणिक, very poor. Grah Medi is the one who wants to remain within the body, within the society, within the nation, and enjoy the friendship, love, and communities, and keep increasing the number of sex enjoyer in this whole world. Puranjana thus enjoyed his son, grandson, great grandson, and he thinks that they are their ultimate happiness and protector of his life. He worked very hard and accumulated very great amount of wealth. He had a very good name in the society, in the nation, and he took a great pleasure when he see the son, the grandson, the great grandsons are plundering his wealth, which is, he says, uh, Tad Rikta Haresu. Tesu means his own son, his own wife, his own son, grandson, great grandsons, is Tad Rikta Haresu, plundering his own wealth. And he's seeking so much pleasure when the people are, when his own relatives are taking his wealth away. So iska bhi, there is a good lesson to learn here from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the chapter 3, again the slok number 21. It says, Yad Yad Ashreti Shreshta Tad Tad Eve Tarojana Sa Yat Pramanam Kurute Lokastad Anuvartate. Whatever action a great man perform, common man follows, and whatever standard he set by the exemplary act, all the world will pursue. This is what happened. If Puranjana did not become Krishna conscious, then what happened? His wife, his son, his grandson, his great grandsons follow the same what Puranjana did. Plunder the wealth, engage in a sense gratification, engage in a fruitive activity, and ruin the life, and do not achieve the perfection of life. Right? This is what is done. So it is very good lesson for all of us. What we do, that way our children will follow. If we are not becoming Krishna conscious, the children, don't expect them children to become Krishna conscious. Children will also do the same thing, what we are doing. If we chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in front of them, one day it will evoke in their heart also that he also chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. But if we don't do that, don't expect children also will do the same thing. It is very good. If you do not give up tea, don't expect children will do the same give up of tea. is very good example that we need to set so that our family can follow the same. You know? So Prabhupada gives a very nice example of a businessman in this whole sloka. The businessman who had a great amount of wealth and well-known name within the society like Puranjana. And he was very much, but that person was very much sexually inclined, and he had a six wife, and he had given a six different house to keep all the six wives separately. And he was controlling the expenses of to maintain the peace and harmony among the whole six wives for his own gratification. He was working very hard like a donkey and maintaining the controlling the expenses of the houses, the children, the wife, their food, their education, their bills. When you have a house, you will get so many of bills: rent bill, light bill, phone bill, internet bill. You have to pay every month on the 10th of every month. We have to pay so many of bills, and it goes automatically from the account. We have to make sure that fund is available. Insurance, so many bills are going, and that to maintain that, we have to work hard. That is what Prabhupada is trying to make. Don't work very hard. We have to work moderately and maintain the right balance between the spirituality and bautic life as well. So that is what he was doing. But then he was also working very hard to give 5 lakhs rupees to each and every children so that they can secure. He think that they will secure their future nicely and live a happy life. That is what that person was thinking. And Prabhupada called that person as a Buddha because he was karmi. And karmis are Buddha. They don't have a right intelligence to where to invest. They do not know what to do and what not to do. That's why Prabhupada called them Muda. He was so, and because Karmi, Prabhupada called him Muda. He worked very hard and feels satisfied. That businessman was feeling satisfied. Why? Because to Tesu, wife, children are tad rikta haresu, plundering away his money. Why he feels satisfied? Because nirudena mamatvena, of the deep rooted attachment to his bodily related person. What is the result of this deep rooted attachment? He becomes visayesu anva badhyata, engage in a sense object fruitive activities and become materially bound birth after birth. That is the essence of Prabhupada trying to tell in the whole purport. Now another example we see in our scripture is Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra also was, although he was blind and he was very powerful king. He was having a spiritual knowledge. Not that Dhritarashtra did not have spiritual knowledge. He knowing, he had his spiritual knowledge. He knew very well the position of Krishna. He knew very well his own position in relationship with Krishna, and yet become so blind due to his attachment to his son and his Kaurava. And then Nirudena Mamatvena, and end up result in losing everything. He lost everything, all the son, everything is lost, and then finally become completely poor fellow, and living under the shelter of the Yudhishthir Maharaj. So this is what has happened. Why? Because the goal was not to please Krishna. His goal was not to please Krishna. His goal was to please his own son. And this is what has happened. And and he had so much of advice from Vidura, from Bhishmadev, and everyone, but still he did not listen because he was so much of attached to his own goal. So that's why um, uh, that's why that this episode teaches that the Dhritarashtra's episode teaches us that Bhagavad Gita meant for higher elevation of our spiritual consciousness, and which requires to bring some changes in our own behavior, in our own consciousness. If we can't bring the changes, then we will be no less than Dhritarashtra, no less than Puranjana, engage in sinful activities and waste valuable time and human form of life, as stated in Bhagavatam 1 to 8. Dharma swanustita pumsa vivakshena kathasuya notpadyade yati ratim sram evahi kevalam. Occupational activities men perform according to his own position are only so much of useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of personality of Godhead. So we have to work hard, no doubt, but when we work hard, we must attract the message of the Lord, that this is not the right world where I should be living. We should be living with you. So please help us to come out of this We should pray like Arjuna. We should pray like Prahlad Maharaj. We should pray like Dhruv Maharaj, that we should not be living in this world, and we should get the shelter of Lord Krishna and our Guru, and we should live when the moment comes. We should leave this world and live eternally with Krishna. Prabhupada also mentions in the purport that materialistic people do not know the ultimate honor of the wealth, like Puranjana, whose wealth is being plundered by Tesu, wife, his children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, and in these activities he finds pleasure without realizing the fact that all this wealth belongs to Krishna and it should go back to him. Since he was devoid of Krishna consciousness, he could not impart the same spiritual knowledge to his wife, his son, grandson, and great grandson. Right? So, uh, So in this materialistic life, he never see anything beyond body, mind, and senses, and is highly deluded by the false ego and his selfishness, just centered around his family, society, nation, etc. In this way, his attachment become very deep rooted and confused and anxious, because become difficult to come out of the entanglement, which is given in 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 16 number sloka. It says, अनेक चित्त विभ्रंता मोह जाल समावृता प्रसक्ता काम भोगेषु patanti narke asauchah. When the chit is vibranta, when the chitt is confused, anxious, with anek desire, with so much of desire, then what will happen? You get bound by the network of Mohajal, network of illusion. When you bound by the illusion, what you become, the result is you become strongly attached to the fruitive activity for sense gratification. When you become too much attached to the sense gratification and fruitive activity, what happens? पतंति नरके असौचः. पतंत, अपना पतन ही पतन होगा, उससे अच्छा, उसके अलावा कुछ अच्छा नहीं होगा. Right? Then there is, I want to give up one great little story which my daughter Riddhi has given me and said, Daddy, you should tell this story because it's very relevant to this one. When I was sharing this the whole episode with my family, and he had given me this story. The story is like that. There is one Brahmana. He was a very good, not Brahmana, but it was a one good Vaishnava person, and he was a very good devotee, and he was very much busy in his doing sadhana bhakti. He had a guru, and he had a little hut where he was living, and he was living only on his kopin, very bare minimum necessity of his life he was having, so that he could do his sadhana very nicely. So what happened? One day he had a rat come in the house, and a rat came and he created a hole in his coffin. He said, "Oh my God, I don't have much coffin. I don't have a cloth. I don't have money. I should get rid of this rat." To get rid of rat, he brings a cat. The cat will eat the rat, and I should do my bhakti nicely. I should do my sadhana bhakti nicely. So he brings a cat. Now the cat every 4 hours, meow, meow, give me food, give me food. But the rat's not gonna come all the time in front of cat and get cat will get the food. So this Brahmana thought, oh my God, I can't do my sadhana bhakti. I need to bring someone who can take care of cat's need. So he brings a cow. The cow, he milking the cow. He was now more engaged in his this fruitive activity, milking cow, feeding cow, grazing cow, and then so that cat's requirement can be fulfilled, and he get rid of rats. But then when he got a cow, the cow also needs a lot of taking care of. So there is big need for the bigger animal, for cow. So again the same thing. Yet he said, now I can't focus on my bhakti. I need to get married and bring a wife, so that wife will take care of all the householding work, and I should do my bhakti nicely. So he gets married. His wife was nicely taking care of cow and cat and rats. Everything was taken care of. But in the meantime, then he had a baby. He had a child. Now the responsibility increases. He had a children, become, now the wife came. The little hut is not enough. Now the same land he tried to make a bigger house, because now the requirement is bigger. He got a wife, he got children. Two bedroom is not enough. Like if I recall my life, when I started with the two bedroom, When we start, when we grow, now I want a 3 bedroom. We grow further, now I want a 6, 7 bedroom. That's how the whole empire is still sitting there, and someone else is using, and I'm sitting here in a 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom house. Now again back to the same square. So this makes me laugh. When I was listening from my daughter, the same thing is happening here in our life. Good, giving a good realization. So that same thing has happened. Then the one day the his guru come and said, let's go and do learn some more about the sadhana bhakti. He said, no, 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 no. I need to protect my family. I need to give shelter to my wife. It's not the right time. Come after some time, maybe 15, 20 years later. Not 10 years, not 2 years, 15, 20 years later. So he comes after 15, 20 years later. Then he had a son, he had a grandson. That is what, like same Puranjana, same story like Puranjana. And he wanted to protect them. So one day again he comes, says, come, we go. He said, no, 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 I need to protect my grandchildren, and then need to get them married, get them settled down, come after another 5, 10 years later. So he said the same. The guru goes again, and the children, the Puranjan, this disciple keeps engaging in, and he become engaging in the household activity, and he think that I am protecting my family. And one day he becomes old, and he passed the body. He left it, and then he comes in that same house as a dog. The guru comes and said, now you sitting here as a dog, let's go and do some sadhana bhakti. He said, no, no, I can't do the bhakti. I need to protect my family. You go again, come back after 5 years later again. Then again, this is a long story, but I'm cutting it short because of time. And then he again, the dog body goes, and he comes as a snake in the courtyard, and sitting like a snake in, and is protecting, like in olden days where they have a treasury. They used to have a snake in sitting in front of, in top of the treasury, is to protect them. They're thinking that snake is protecting the treasury. So the one day the guru again comes, and guru said, now you sitting as a here as a snake, let's go and do it. I said, no, 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 I need to protect my family. Then the guru calls all the little great grandchildren were playing. They said, take one big stick and hit that snake right royally, hit him very badly. you know so when the guru said like that, then the children said, no, 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 the snake will bite us. No, no, he will not bite. I know that this snake is not dangerous. Don't worry, he will not bite. You just go and hit him. So the children goes with the big stick and hit the snake right badly. Then the snake said, oh, no, 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 my own potas only are gonna are killing, hitting me and killing me. Let's go and now have the bhakti. And that's too late. So this is what same thing happens here. Sorry. Um, like, sorry, Bhagwan. So this is what had happened, and with the Puranjana, nothing happened. The moral of the story is, Guru came so many times and given the knowledge to the such a nice person who is doing sadhana bhakti. One thing entangled to the another, tangled to the another, and he got so much complication in his life that he couldn't give up his attachment to the family. So this is the moral of the story. That we should learn from the story that we should not get too much attached to the unnecessary thing, which is the thing which should be attached that can help us advance in our Krishna consciousness. If it is not helping us to advance, we should come out of it. This is the lesson for me as well. First to me, and then for everyone. If I'm asking for the mercy of all the Vaishnava, that please help me, that I will stick to this principle in my life, so that I can advance my spirituality the way I have said. So in conclusion, what has happened? The people in general engage in laborious tasks, and this is what given in the same purport and last line, so I said last two line, that people are engaged in various laborious tasks for the body, for the home, for the family, nation, community, and become more and more deep rooted. Right? Even if some sadhu gives him some knowledge, he would not endeavor to understand it. In this situation, we should like Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra was given so much of advice, but he wouldn't understand. So what Vidura did, Vidura was given so much of advice, but then he was given a very harsh behavior by Duryodhana. He given a harsh word. So he given up everything and he left the home. This is what the sadhu do. He left the home, went to the jungle. He deepened his own Krishna conscious bhakti. He deepened his own bhakti. And and what had happened then, when the right time came, when everything was settled down, Dhritarashtra lost all his kids and everything, and he was living with Yudhishthira. Then the right time come when his mind become peaceful and started receiving the message from Vidura. That time Vidura came again and given him the message and took him to the, and overnight he left the house and gone for a self-realization. So this is what a lesson for all of us, that all the preachers of Krishna conscious movement, that we should not give up our preaching effort. Even though the 10 offenses is that we should not preach to the person who is not Krishna conscious. It is right. We should not preach them, but we should wait for the right opportunity to come and then go back and say the same message of the Lord, which will help that person to come up in his spiritual advancement, right? And then it also says in the 16th chapter, the slok number 23. I'm just revising my Bhakti Sastri study as well, doing some self study. That this helping me to revise my Bhakti Sastri study as well. It says, ya sastra vidim utsrujya vartate kam karatah na sa siddhim avapnoti na sukham na param gatim. I like this sloka so much. शास्त्र की विधि अगर नहीं फॉलो करोगे, विसृज्य, we give up the shastra vidhi, what happens? Like Puranjana, not following, then what happens? Vartate kama karata. So then we will behave like according to our plan, choice, desire. We will follow like that, according to our desire we'll follow. And then na siddhi mavapnatam, then we will not achieve the perfection of life. Perfection of life is what? To remember Krishna at the time of death. That is the perfection of life. If we can't achieve that, then what will happen? Na sukham, na param gatim. ना इस जन्म में सुख मिलेगा, ना अच्छी गति मिलेगी आत्मा को। फिर पुनरपि जन्मति पुनरपि मरतति। मरना है, जन्मना है, मरना है, जन्मना है, जन्म लेना है, फिर मरना है, फिर जन्म लेना है, मरना है। कौन सा माँ बाप मिलने वाले हमें पता नहीं। That nature will decide, that Krishna will decide. So we should relish this slok, remember again and again, and say, yes, I want to follow the vidhi, which Shastra says, rules and regulations. Yes, whatever Krishna said that we want to follow as per Bhagavad Gita, and channelize our desire and our attachment, how Krishna wanted, that we should channelize under the guidance of pure Vaishnava, Guru, Siksha Guru, we should stay under their shelter and channelize our whole existence for purification using our desire and attachment, and that will make our life successful. This is the end of whole discourses. Please give me the comment and any suggestion you may have, please. And any mistake if I have made, please forgive me. Thank you so much. Jai Shila Gurudev, Jai Shila Prabhupada ki jai ho.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for the nice class. And you have very nicely told us what are the obstructions that even a small attachment to the material things drags us to the material chain of actions, and that follows. And in this way, we forget the real path, and they're giving the story of the sadhu who wants just to get rid of the rat, get entangled one after another, one after another. In this way, the materialistic chain of whatever chains, and in this way he got bound and forget the real goal. And so we should be very careful about the material attachment, and we should always remember the Guru and the Vaishnavas and the Sadhus, unless we remain with them, and our attachment to the material thing is there, but the thing is that it is to be diverted to the spiritual. It should be given a spiritual direction. Only then attachment will be there. But when this attachment goes for the sadhus and for the Supreme Lord, then the door for our liberation gets open. So that is the way.
We need to channelize our desire and our attachment under the direction of Guru and Shastra. Then our liberation will be perfect. No, then our life will be perfect. Otherwise, we will be like Puranjana, birth after birth.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank you so
Krishna.
much, Prabhu. Yeah.
If anybody has any other things, he can come out. Hare Krishna. So, Prabhuji, it appears there is no other comment, any other person to make a comment.
Thank you,
So,
Prabhu.
so the class may be concluded. Thank you very much for the class.
Thank,
And
thank you, Prabhu.
Pancha Kalpotarubhyascha
Vach कृपा सिंधुभैव च
Devacha
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री श्री राधा
Ananta
कृष्ण
Kopi
भगवान
Vaishnava Bindu ki
Jai.
Jai.
जय
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Purusottam Das Prabhu ki Jai.
जय
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
थैंक
Hare
यू
Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा